Ready? Hello, my name is Bob Leone. I'm coming to you from Houston, Texas, where I live with my amazing wife, Kelly. My cameraman today is my daughter, Veronica, who's also a lawyer. And what I want to do is tell you a little bit about my memories of Judge Joe. I first learned of Judge Joe about 30 years ago before I started law school. Our law school was brand new, it was not accredited, and it was a big plunge. It required a good amount of tuition, a good amount of time, and I wasn't sure if it was legitimate. So, what I did is I asked a lawyer friend of mine at the time, what did he think of the program? He said, get him a list of who was on the faculty, which I did. And as I read the list of faculty members, when I got to Judge Spurlock, he said, stop. He said, stop right there. Did you say Judge Spurlock, Judge Joe Spurlock from Fort Worth? I said, yes. He said, if the judge is associated with this and put his name on it, it was for real. The judge comes from a long line of noble family in Fort Worth and would never let himself be associated with something that wasn't legit. So off I went. Now, I first met the judge on the very first day of class. The faculty had asked Joe to teach a 1 credit, 1 hour seminar on one day, not 1 hour, seminar on what to expect from law school, which I attended. I was in the very first row in dead center. The judge assured us, answered all our questions, and off we went. I had the judge for several classes. So that was the beginning of law school. Actually, at the end, the judge is the one who swore me into the Texas, to the bar. While in law school, one day we were having a conversation. The judge told me we should start a chapter of the law fraternity named Delta Theta Phi. He said his dad and he had been members when he was in law school, and it would help us with our accreditation efforts to be associated with the national organization. So I did just that, and our chapter was named after Joe's father, Judge Spurlock I, or the first. Several years ago, we changed the name to just Joe Spurlock II and put Judge Joe as the main honoree. I served on that fraternity for about 25 years, eventually becoming an international chancellor. And the judge eventually served on our Supreme Court with wisdom, distinction, and a stellar record. And those will be giant shoes for the fraternity to fill now. I would be amiss if I didn't mention one final story, which is the judge in Mongolia. A very distinguished alumni of ours, Mr. Matt Toback, had a relationship with Mongolia, had been there numerous times, and convinced the judge to accompany him on one of his trips. Well, of course, everyone in Mongolia, and especially the judiciary, fell in love with the judge and asked him to consult with them. Mongolia had just recently broken away from the Soviet Union and was trying to put in place a democratic system of law. And they called upon the judge to teach him. So the judge met with their Supreme Court, with their Attorney General, numerous lawyers, and taught them the system of law we use here in the good old USA. And I got to accompany him. We went numerous times, but I got to accompany him on one of his trips several years ago, which unfortunately would be his last trip. And I was stunned and never more proud in my life. The way we were received, we visited the Supreme Court justices. We had dinners with every dignitary you could think of, including the vice president and president of the country. We spent a good deal at the nation's capital, Ulaanbaatar, and it was an amazing, incredible experience, and I'm going to try to help continue that legacy. So, in conclusion, let me sum this up a little bit, and excuse me for occasionally looking at my notes, but in my practice sessions, I got a little teary-eyed from time to time. Joe was a man of faith. He was a man who loved his family and spoke of them proudly and often. He he turned anyone who met him, he had this ability, into a friend. I don't personally don't know of anyone. I'm sure somebody must, but I don't know of anyone who didn't love the judge, didn't like him, didn't consider him a friend. He was intelligent, he was hardworking, loyal, but best of all, he was humble and could bring anything down to earth where you could understand it and respect it. He he will be sorely missed by anyone who knew him, and I'll bet you that if you're lucky enough, or I'm lucky enough to get to heaven, you'll find when you get there that their admission system and their court system are based on are doing things the Spurlock way. So um, I will miss you, Joe. Thank you for all you did in my life, and God bless you, Joe.